It's been a while since we've done anything on Eric's 62. Been waiting for some parts and a little bit of cash. What we're going to be doing next is installing a 73 to 87 front end. This is going to give us a drop because we're going to install 2-inch drop springs, 2-inch drop spindles. This will give us power steering, power brakes, disc brakes. Well, it's not going to give us power brakes, but we'll be installing power brakes also. So what we're going to do first is the sandblasters. They charge by the hour. So all of this big thick grease right here, which is nice to just give to the sandblaster, is going to cost you more money. So first we're just going to get a spatula and we're just going to clean off all this big chunky monkey stuff. Then we're going to go ahead and take this thing apart in an organized manner so we don't have anything go kaplowy on us. So normally when I'm doing something like this, I just arbitrarily replace everything. But in this case, we're trying to save every little dollar we can. So if these parts are going to be working for us, then we're going to go ahead and leave them. This right here is a nifty little tool that they sell at Harbor Freight. And all you need to do is take off, loosen up the bolt here on our tie rod end, and then this slips right on, and then you simply tighten it up and it'll pop the joint. So on this particular right here, we're not going to take all of this apart, the whole drag link, idler arm, and things like that. We're just going to pop them here at the tie rod ends, or at the spindles, and then just clean it all up and paint it. And we can double check it after we get a load on there, but really to test these, you have to have kind of a load on them. So normally how I would do this though is I would take off my idler arm first and then my tie rod ends here, because if you take these off here and then this is all in one piece just flopping around on the ground, it's harder to take off your other items. So if you're going to be leaving it together, just take it apart at the spindle. If you're going to be taking it apart all together, you want to do it individually here first. Then on our spindles, you might want to get a shot of this. So your spring's under tension, and you don't want to do any damage to your fingers or anything. So what you want to do is take the cotter pin out of the nut right here, and then we're going to loosen this bolt up, but we're still going to leave it on there with about 4 or 5 threads. Then we can go ahead and take our tool here. This will go in here. This will go right on top of the nut, and then we'll tighten it down until it pops. Now the reason we leave our nut on here is that if there wasn't a nut on here and there was a lot of tension on our spring, when this came apart, there'd be nothing to keep it from going all the way apart. So we leave the threads on there some, and this gives us a controlled coming apart thing. So now on this upper ball joint, you can see that this has bolts in it. So this is a newer ball joint. So we'll try to save this and reuse it. On the other side, however, these are riveted in, and that's how it is in the original ball joints. So this is an old one, and we'll grind these off, knock these out, buy a new one, and it'll bolt in just like you see on the other side. However, the bushings here on the front, on the lower and upper, they have a bolt on right here. And generally I just won't mess with this. If you have a press at your shop, or one of the tools that presses these in and out, then you'll want to take these off when this is all together, because it's going to be a lot easier. It'll be more stable when you try to take this off. But I don't have a press, and I don't have any other things. And if you do it yourself and you're not used to doing it on a regular basis, a lot of times these here, they'll get all wicky-wacky on you, and they won't go in straight, and it'll become a big hassle for you. But you can go to a machine shop and they'll take off the bolt and replace the bushing and everything like that for generally 15 bucks each bushing. So it does cost you some, but you don't have to worry about scratching your paint up, and you don't have to worry about going out and buying the press, etc., etc. So then after we get all of our ball joints here, we'll also be loosening these guys up. We won't take them all the way off either. We'll go ahead and leave them on about 3 or 4 turns, and then after we get all of these things popped, now we won't have so much tension on our spring, and I'll be able to take off the bolts or the nuts down here, and then it'll come off nice and easy. Now that's not always the case. If you have a 3/4 ton front end, if the springs were not correct, what have you, you could still have some tension in there. So be sure that whatever you do, you watch out for your fingers. And so, all right, so we just want to get the camera and have it like pointed to. Okay, you can see that's a little bit dangerous, but I'm a gamey kind of guy. And you can get spring compressors on there. They just go straight up through the hole here, and you can compress them. They got a couple different styles. You can wrap 10,000-pound straps around it and help keep it down. But if you're a little gamey, you do it like I did it. Not that I recommend that. Now with the truck lowered, we're not going to need this bump stop on here anymore. So what I generally do on this is I'll cut this off along the bottom here, and I'll take the mass of this off, and then what's left I can go ahead and gently take off by either grinding where the spot welds are, drilling them out a little bit, and then getting the chisel on there and knocking them off. But I want to do this kind of nice, and I don't want to mess up the metal too much, so that we can have a nice clean paint job when we're done. And sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll just be able to drill down, not all the way through the metal, but just down through the first piece here, or almost through, and then weaken the rivets enough to be able to take this off like this. Alright, so we're all done for the day. We got everything in the car here. It's cleaned up as best we can and taken off everything we could. So next we'll be taking these bushings out of the upper and lower control arms, and then we'll go ahead and get them sandblasted. We'll paint them. We'll take the ball joints out too, and then after they're painted, then we'll put the new bushings and ball joints back in. So we'll see you next time.